Recording. Yep, it's recording. So welcome everybody. We're glad to have you here. I am Becky Tangwell with I Take the Lead. We are based out of Portland and we are in other states. We're going to have a whole lot of people on here today that I don't know. We had a lot of people that register from the different social media sites and Meetup, and then some friends of Jason. Jason, we put on what we call the networking webinars. It's usually about tweaking your networking habits so you can become better and more proficient at networking. Jason had approached me, I think it was last week, because we were just getting ready to go to New Orleans. And Jason had suggested that we do this webinar because he wants to, he's a business coach. He works specifically with the medical community professionals, such as acupuncturists, chiropractors, and such. And he wanted to share a way that we'll all be able to get through the struggles right now and maintain our business and maintain our money flow, I assume. So I really don't know what Jason's going to be talking about today. So I'm just going to turn it over to Jason. And just so you know, everybody is automatically muted as you come on. So at some point when Jason asks you to ask questions or whatever, you have to unmute yourself one at a time. So there's also a chat if you have questions at the bottom, but I'm going to go ahead and open it up to Jason. So thanks, Jason.
Great. So Becky, I want to just thank you. You don't know what this presentation is about, and you're game for it.
I am.
I think we're entering the wild, wild west. And so,
I know you, and I knew I could trust you.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. You know, before we get started, I always start all my client sessions. I've never done this in a training before, but I always start with 1 minute on the insight timer. And I think it's appropriate right now as everybody's trying to learn as much information as possible of how do we keep sane and what are the loans and what do we do next, to just take 1 minute. And so you can close your eyes or you can leave them open, but you'll hear a chime. I'm going to close mine. And we can also just send out some positive healing vibes and infected and impacted by COVID-19. So let's do that now. We have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I'm going to present a lot today that you can do, some ideas that I have for you. And I really recommend that you start taking some power pauses or micro breaks, because everyone I know has been impacted and most people are not stopping. It's like consume, consume, consume. What is it today? What is it tomorrow? What's my accountant say? And I think it's really essential to unplug and spend some time with your family and not be online all day. And so let me get into it with my PowerPoint. And so, Becky, I'm going to ask, when I do this and I go into present, you can see that good?
Yep, it's perfect.
Okay, yep. All right. So I always forget the button on. Oh, and it went away. Hang on. Okay, can you see that? Or did it go to a different screen?
Just see you now.
You
Yeah.
just me. Okay. So I need to turn this off and I'll do it again. And now you can see it.
Yes.
Yep. Yep.
Right. And I'm gonna do that. So I have a lot of experience in business. I'm not going to talk too much about that today. I had my first business when I was 10. I got into healthcare. I've owned a private practice. I've helped over 1,000 clients that are mostly wellness providers and healers, although I've also helped mortgage lenders and realtors and financial planners. I've spent time in graduate school developing curriculum, and I coach full-time in my own business, and I'm seeing a drastic change just in the last 3 weeks about what's happening. So I wanted to take today to share some of what I think you can do. Now, the second thing is I'm good in a crisis. My friend was shot in front of me when I was at Arizona State University, and I had to be good in a crisis then. In my 20s, I had a degree in psychology, and I worked in a lockdown residential teen treatment facility, which means that teens at any time could get set off and start to try to fight. And so you really had to know how to handle yourself in an immediate situation. In my 30s, unfortunately, I had a business partner that had embezzled over $60,000. And I went through the biggest financial upheaval of my life. And so I know many of you are facing economic stress right now. And then I've taught crisis intervention skills to medical providers as well. And so I'm good. And I'm here to share that there are things that you can do. What I think is most important is to get to the solution mode, which is really hard when we're in fear. And so I want to boil this presentation all the way down. We may not find what's the $1 million idea for you at the end of this, or how to financially make more than you made last month. My hope is we can get you out of the constant state of reacting that you may be in, start to ground and center, how to change your perspective from doom and gloom to possibility, and really see what solutions may be available for you. Before we do this, I'm flooded with information just like you are right now. And one of the things that I don't see coming out is the fact that everyone in your neighborhood, everyone in your city is going to be going online. And that means that if you don't have an Ethernet cable for your home business while you're working from home, get one. An Ethernet cable just means that you're not using your wireless, you're just connecting right into your router and you're plugging your computer in, and that will give you the fastest access as everyone else around you comes online. The second tip that I'm not seeing anywhere that I'm giving to you guys is think about spending a little bit more in your speeds. Because I think those that spend the least amount on their streaming at home are going to start crashing. And those that actually have a business account are spending a little bit more. Your speeds, like I've seen my speeds not be impacted at all. I probably spend 115 with Xfinity a month and I get 500. And that is a lot. But I know that as things crash around me, my business is going to be okay. So let's just talk. Like, this is straight from my website. Really, I believe profits, relationship, and impact are the most important thing in business. However, the profits part of business has been impacted so much in the last 2 weeks. You really in the last couple of months globally, but the last 2 weeks more so in the US. And so if we look since January, globally, markets are crashing, businesses are closing, and really, to me, business profits important as you went into business, be sustainable, but business relationships are even more important. This may be a temporary shutdown. We're looking for 1 to 3 months, and so you can recover. But ultimately, if you went from $5, $10, $20, $30,000 a month to zero, that's a huge hit. And so we want to start being in communication with everyone we can, including our accountant, including if we pay rent, if we have a mortgage, if we have a car loan. No matter what your bills are, many, many, many companies are working with you. And so I have one client who called their mortgage company, and over the phone, they did paperwork together, and they got on a 3-month forbearance. So they don't have to pay their mortgage for 3 months, and it's not costing them anymore, and it's not changing their percentage rate. So think about your phone line, think about any bills that are outgoing, and have those conversations now. If they have 24-hour customer support, I'm recommending that you stay up late, because most people are jamming the lines during the day and no one wants to stay up late, so the lines are a little bit more open. This is just today. This is 3/24/20. Kate Brown issued the stay-at-home order. And so in the state of Oregon, you're asked to close if you're one of these businesses here. And I'm sure there's many more that weren't listed. But even if you're staying open, and you're allowed to stay open, unless your client is allowed to come see you, it is a Class C misdemeanor right now, punishable by 30 days in jail and a $1,250 fine if you're caught on the streets and you don't have. Believe, at least in Portland, the police are going to give warnings, but I do recommend, one, stay home, like honor that so that you're not becoming a vector and spreading the virus to other people. And two, know that if people don't honor that, eventually they're going to enforce the law. And the last place I would want to be right now is in jail or in a very tight quarters with lots and lots of people. So I want to talk to you about pandemic, like pandemic, disease present over the world. And there's been other pandemics that have happened over the centuries. And so this is not going to end, hopefully, your business or civilization. It will create a time to adapt and change. And so it is important to know that telemedicine is coming online, and really many, many people are going to get infected with COVID-19. And so you probably want to know now, if you're infected, what's the 1, 2, 3 for you and your family? What are the steps you should take? Like, because a lot of people are still driving to the ER and trying to get tested, and that's probably not the best first step for you. And so I'm a big believer in being prepared. And so know in your part of the world, if someone in your household does get it, what are the steps you can take? There probably is a place that you can get tested. We're seeing that roll across the US more and more. You may want to talk to your healthcare provider, because most of them are doing telemedicine right now. And you may want to talk to your natural providers to know what vitamin C, zinc, and other options that they're recommending to boost your immunity to protect yourself. So we talk about pandemic, and that's different than the word panic. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing people grab everything off the shelves. We're seeing a shortage in hospitals with masks and other supplies. Any PPE gear is being just hoarded. And panic comes from the word panikon. And panikon is relating to the Greek god of Pan. And here's a picture of him. Pan is actually the god of wreaking mischief. And he's good at it. And so you may notice that many of your family members, many of your clients are starting to get anxiety levels that are rising higher and higher and higher. And so you want to start to ask yourself, what can you do to be a leader in the community the same way you were a month, 2 months, 3 months ago. Now, panic creates a crisis. When I taught medical providers, this is any life event can take a crisis proportion if it's experienced as sudden, intense, unexpected, or emotionally supercharged. We experience crisis as overwhelming, leaving us without means to cope or to adjust. We do not know how to make it stop. So just curious, you can throw answers in the chat. How do you think people are dealing with the crisis, the pandemic? What are ways they're dealing with it? And Lynn or Becky, can you see the chat?
Yeah. Yeah. I can
I'm
see
looking
it.
for it.
And what are we seeing? What are we seeing?
Let's see. Dottie says Dottie Scott, many are staying home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so what I'm seeing is I'm seeing an influx of people consuming media and screens, which we already know that social media and news can actually raise your cortisol, create higher stress levels, create anxiety attacks, and lower your immunity. Now, I'm not saying don't get on Facebook. I'm not saying don't read the news. I'm saying take breaks. Like, it's so easy to go on a binge watch for days on Netflix. There are so many movies on the streaming media right now that if you just waited till the pandemic was over, you could watch movies nonstop and not do anything else. And
Right.
so, yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah. Before they go away, Iris said hoarding and denial right now. Sarah says over preparing, no exercise at all. Dottie says I'm purposely not listening to the news.
Yeah, great.
Sarah focusing on all the bad things going on right now, and Dottie says she is trying to get out and hike more. I saw photos of it. And then Carmen says fearful.
Yeah.
And a lot more people in neighborhoods are out walking and riding bikes and running. So I see people with more time on their hands and seem to be actually doing something physical to get their mind off of what's going on.
I love it. The new order in the state of Oregon, Lynn, is that in your household, you can be next to each other, but there needs to be a greater length of distance with people that don't live with you.
Right.
And so it's really important to stop and get grounded, which is easy to talk about, but not so easy to do. And so we want to think about some ways that we do to not stay grounded. As I said, social media, streaming movies, the news. Basically, this is the same at any time in life in your business. You are either just taking in material left and right, or you're creating material. So you can't just receive and create at the same time. You have to receive some knowledge and then create something new. It may be a new offer, it may be new marketing, it may be a new way to connect with your clients, but you can't sit there and just take in, and create at the same time. So we look at the 3 ways to respond to a crisis. The first is withdrawn, and that's like, I've already heard of the COVID-15, like that's the amount of pounds you're gonna gain at home. Withdrawn means that many people have livable anxiety anyways. And so you start to back away and not ask for help, or you get online, your anxiety increases. And so it's really important not to withdraw, but to ask for help. If you don't have any help with your immediate family or community, you can ask for help with I Take the Lead if you're a member. If you don't have anyone, there are hotlines where you can actually ask for help. And more, we will see communities going online, whether it's my children's school are all now online, or your church community may be online. And so find where you get fed and don't withdraw. Now, the other way is to attack. And what we're going to notice, people that live in small spaces start to get a little snippy. And it may be they're getting snippy with the people in their immediate space. It may be that they're getting snippy online because you can easily just say things to other people. And ultimately, it's about getting yourself into it. Wow, someone looks like they wrote on that screen. I didn't know that was possible. So I don't know where that came from, that line. Anyways, we're going to keep going. Really, I've talked about this before, and I take the lead. Right down here, you have your amygdala. It's the fight, flight, freeze center. And if you've ever had trauma in your life, or if you've ever had hard times, that is going to be coming up now. And it's really important to start to notice so that you can get yourself grounded. And so the present moment, mindfulness, prayer, these things get you to the frontal lobe. And the frontal lobe is going to be, what can I do in this moment? Military people are trained in the frontal lobe all the time because you have to react when a crisis is presented. ER doctors get trained in the frontal lobe because you have to react given the circumstances that are coming in any given moment. Now, as a self-employed professional, take some time to withdraw, reset, ground, and then start to create. That's what we want to talk about on this call. So Einstein, you can't solve a problem from the same consciousness that was created. And what this means is you got to shift perspective. You got to see it differently. And there's some ways to get grounded. If you're a teacher or if you're a student in anything, Headspace is offering free meditation app to you. Over on the left of the screen is the Headspace guy, and that's headspace.com. If you have to pay for it, it's a great way to start a meditation practice now. The middle, here's a self-employed entrepreneur that got really creative very quickly. These are members of the gym that I attend. It's called Bleeding Heart Kettlebell Club here in Portland, Oregon. They had a great following. And so they immediately went online and give classes online, and they found another company in Beaverton that if you spend 25 or more on the kettlebell itself, they would deliver for free. And so not only did they find a solution for themselves, but they found a distribution for another company to serve. Now this last one, if you're faith-based, prayer can be incredibly helpful. Just stilling your mind, getting into your heart, and finding ways to get out of the panic. I want you to just take a moment, and it would be easy to be on this call and just consume more information. You're going to be on lots of calls in the next couple of weeks, and I invite you to not just take in information, but do something with it. So one of the things that I recommend is create 3 routines starting today. And those routines have one in mindfulness, have one in movement, and then have one in service to others. So what that looks like for me is mindfulness. I do 10 minutes of meditation every day. Before COVID routine, I do it now. Movement, I move my body for usually 50 to 60 minutes. My wife is a naturopath and a personal trainer. And so she gives me workouts that I can do on a regular basis. I have 2 gyms I belong to, and they actually are doing online trainings now. So think about some movement that you can do. If you're in a small space, jump rope, jumping jacks, push-ups, simple things, maybe yoga. And the last is service to others. And this one we do automatically, but I ask for you to put it in a routine. And for me, I acknowledge my wife every day. I actually have a checklist, and on the checklist, I do my mindfulness, I do my movement, and I acknowledge my wife every day. And the reason routines are so important is we had routines before that got changed up. And so it's really important that we get some structure of what's most important to us every day, and we make it super simple. So not only is it doable, we could have the best meditation practice ever during this time. We could lose weight during this time if that's something we want to do. Yeah? So the second thing, and before I go to the second thing, are there any questions? Becky, Lynn, I'll let you guys look in the chat.
No. Let's see.
Not yet, but it takes a minute for it to come in.
No, just talking about what they've been doing, so there's no questions that I see.
Okay, feel free to ask questions along the way.
Thank you for acknowledging me.
Excuse me, Becky, what did you say?
I said thank you for acknowledging me. I heard somebody say Becky. I'm not sure if it's Becky or
Oh,
Becky.
no, that's me. I'm Becky. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody's muted. We have the chat over here if you have questions. Down
Yeah,
at the
I had
bottom.
a hard time getting it into Zoom earlier, but I'm on my cell phone and I'm in a car, so traveling was kind of difficult to get in. But I want to say thank you for everybody's presence today and trying to brainstorm how we can all get together and pretty much find a solutions of businesses that are they're inactive right now, and everybody's concerned about their bills and things like that. So.
Yeah.
So Vicki, I said a little bit on the bill side on the front end, and I'm going to say some things about the creative side on the tail end. And so you may have more questions, and we want to honor that. I do know that everybody is really being impacted. And so,
Jason, there's one thing. Audrey asked if you could. Oh, Audrey asked if you could go into more detail about service to others, please.
Oh, sure. Let me go back a slide.
Okay.
So Audrey, I'm trained in a Japanese style of coaching called Harada method. And Harada started off as a track coach who, I think there was 263 different high schools and he was last. And he started studying performance and enhancement and what you could do to really be efficient in your life. And he started having the best team again and again that were winning awards and going on to be heroes. And so eventually corporations in Japan contacted him to find out what was he doing. And in his system, when it gets laid out, one of the biggest things is you want to start to distribute your business in your life for other people. Like, how are you showing up for other people? And so being of service to others in your home life and in your self-employment life is incredibly important. And sometimes we get businesses and we know that we're doing it, but it's not connecting all together. And now that we're not going to work every day and our businesses are shifting up, there are still ways that you could impact your clients by being of service to others. One of those ways that I've done and I've let my clients know about is pick a client a day to reach out to and just check in with them. So one client every, right? Another way to be of service to your clients is be the resource. Like right now, the government and the associations and whatever communities you are a part of, I believe are not doing a very good job of compiling information so it's easy to digest. I'll show you right now, if I take off this PowerPoint and I go into one of my clients just sent out this newsletter. And so Help Resources. And he's an acupuncturist. Not only did he say where they could get him, they said where they could get free telemedicine for flu-like symptoms, waive copay for, and he's out of Austin, Headspace, Calm, different meditation apps, movement, entertainment, kids entertainment and education. That's him being of service to other people. And you could send an email a day. Now, you might think, no one wants an email a day from me. And ultimately, your clients do. Your clients are freaking out right now. And they're like, how do I comb through all of the information to get one source? And so you may just, if you're in a certain state, your business could start sharing the latest in one area on your website so that there's one place to go to get information. Becky, I don't remember who answered that question, but does that answer it?
It was, it did me. Audrey, did that help? Yeah, thank you. Excellent.
Okay, great, great. And so we move to the second piece, which is perspective, change perspective. I remember my cousin is a charter scuba diver off the island of Maui in Hawaii, and his business had to close down a couple weeks ago, the charter itself. And the first time he took me scuba diving, it was a change of perspective. I had no idea that there was a living world under the water. It was really quite amazing to feel like I was going into another world. And what I did in the beginning was I panicked, because when you're breathing on a regulator and you're breathing oxygen out of a tank, do you trust it? Can you leave it in? Will you lean in? And it's really interesting to think about changing perspectives, because we often in business, we're too critical of ourselves. We're too critical of our ideas. So we have great ideas to shift our perspective, but we're afraid they won't work. Now, there's a very old story that maybe you heard from other business communities. There was a shoe company, and they sent the sales guy to Ethiopia, and he showed up, and he was like, I can't take this territory. Nobody wears shoes. So they sent the next guy, and the next guy was like, you know what? This is the best territory. Nobody wears shoes. Now, we have to start shifting our perspective. And for some people, this is going to help your business if you're open to making those changes. It's going to start with the mind, so that it's not doom and gloom 24/7, or, oh my, this is what I do. There's nothing I can do. You can become a part of the solution. Now, I taught changing perspectives for a while. Maybe you saw this. This is definitely a psychology 101 in any course across the United States in college. There's a young woman or an old woman. Which do you see? So Becky, I know you're live. What do you see?
I see the young woman.
You see the young woman. Now, if I take the young woman's nose right here, you can see my cursor.
Yeah.
And now you bring that nose to the old woman. That's her nose. And that's her chin.
Yeah.
You see it now?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've seen this before too. Yeah.
And so, you know, what do you see with that one, Becky?
Blocks with the little blocks in between, in the corners.
And so it's really interesting that the little blocks in between start to shift. So you're in a conversation with your partner at home, and they're saying something about an opinion that they have, and someone else is like, no, that's not true, because you're seeing it from different sides. Now, you're going to get people for COVID-19 that it's the end of them, and you're going to get other people that say, wow, this is an exercise in flexibility and adaptability. And so we take a look at that one, Becky. What do you see?
Einstein.
And now back your chair away. So get further away from your desk. What do you see?
Oh, Lynn, what do you see?
Einstein, I can't get far enough.
Yeah, I can't either.
There's something else there. Oh, you get out of ways, you see Marilyn Monroe.
You see Marilyn Monroe. That's right.
Oh, wow. That's very cool.
I had to put my iPad on the other side of the table.
Oh, I've never seen that. That's funny.
So I know this is a challenging exercise, but I want you to try it. I want you to see if there's 3 positives for you and your business as a result of COVID-19. And that may be a stretch for you, but I ask you to just try it on. And if you can, put 1 positive in the chat.
Oh, Dottie says, that's a good one. Time to do my own marketing. She's a premier web designer. So yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Time to update my website.
Yeah, so a positive is getting to all those things in your business that you've put off for months. Yeah, that is definitely.
Audrey says self-reflection on what I am passionate about. Dottie
Absolutely.
says time to do more hiking.
Yes.
Annette says folks are making more effort to communicate with each other, both professionally and personally. I agree. Eileen says create new offerings. Audrey, hiking.
Perfect time. Perfect time.
Yeah. Implanting a new CRM.
Yep.
Oh, implementing. Sorry, Dottie. Opportunity to diversify, Sarah says.
Perfect. Perfect.
Dottie says, time to call my clients, all my clients.
Yes. You could make a list of like 10 to 20 per day because they're at home.
Yeah, exactly. And Lynn says business is slow time to compare pricing.
Sure, you could create spreadsheets to do quantitative analysis for, market research. You can read, you can learn a new skill in business that you've been wanting to learn. There are lots of positives with this. Now, we can expand that outward, that we're seeing positives in the environment. So we're seeing when China shut down completely that the smog lifted. So
Yeah,
we're seeing a lot of positives. I don't know if it's true or not true, but we garden a lot, and it feels like the garden is just like so ready to spring up. Portland's gotten noisier and noisier over the last 3 years, and I noticed Portland's quieted down, right? So
right.
there can be lots of positives that come to you and your business during this time.
Permanent reset on better ways to do business.
Great time to reset better ways to do business. Great time to start to do market research of in the last year, where did the majority of your clients come from? Time to think about your online marketing and what offer do you want to create that you've been thinking about for a decade and you never have time to get to it.
Right.
Okay. So the third piece is to create the solutions. And creative solutions, again, cannot come from the face of looking at the problem. You have to get outside of it. And the main thing I invite you to do is go back to what is your self-employed business vision? When you know your vision, there may be a way to help people at home right now. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to close your doors and go work for a delivery service. Let's see, just in the chat, I want to hear a couple vision, Becky.
If they have any business visions.
Well, I'd like people right now to just type out in as few words as possible, what's your business vision?
Okay. Let's see. Less traffic. Oh, I would like to. Sarah. Let's see. So you guys, are you typing out your business vision? Oh. To help business owners find clients online.
Perfect time for that.
Dottie, yeah.
Dottie, you should be slammed every day, all day long, and you might have to hire people to help you.
To provide quality research and evaluation services to nonprofit and purpose-driven organizations and support a talented and remote workforce. That comes from Annette.
Annette, feel free to contact me privately. I have a client who has a CRM that's considering offering it for free to all nonprofits right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So really, this is about using your vision you already have and connecting with the right people. Let's hear one more.
Lynn says, where is it? Thinking of more ways. Oh, they're coming fast. Thinking of more ways to connect when physical meetings are not possible. And that's what my world's been all about.
Yeah, so for that one, it's a really interesting thing because if you spend a month and 2 months on your marketing, I take the lead, we'll go back to face-to-face, but now there's this whole other wing of the business that may come online. Now, Becky, I know that wasn't yours, but it may be that lots of people want Zoom meetings. So an example is I'm a member of Toastmasters, and I meet live with a lot of employees at Fred Meyer because that's where the meeting is. And now it's all online, pretty effortlessly.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So you can hold your vision even in these times. And then once you have your vision, you can start to brainstorm, what do you do with that? Now we take a look and who does your business help? So go ahead and just type in the who. Who is your tribe, your avatar? Like, you don't have to go too deeply in this, but who do you help? And this is business 101. If you say people, you need coaching from before.
Yeah.
Anybody who breathes and has a checkbook, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you're funny. Okay, Dottie says business owners. Annette says nonprofits. And,
Just one at a time. Business owners are all at home right now. Okay. Who else,
Dottie,
Becky?
okay. Annette says nonprofits and purpose-driven organizations.
Purpose-driven organizations are so struggling right now because a lot of people shut off their funding, and so they're just looking for people. And it may be that you work on a sliding scale, or you find a way to be the resource to all the nonprofits. Like if you start giving nonprofit resources that no one else is the leader at giving right now, they're going to come to your website again and again and again.
Sarah says, there was one. Iris says, people who want to be healthier and take their health care into their own hands.
Telemedicine is coming for those that can't do telemedicine because you need a license. Online health coaching is just going to explode during this time.
Right. Sarah says, busy, stressed professionals who need quality care from someone that take their health insurance.
Yeah, and so really someone that takes their health insurance, really get informed about the telemedicine laws so that you can be the go-to resource for all those people.
Right. Becky is trying to launch a nonprofit plant-based fast food restaurant. Health, wellness, and reducing methane gas.
That's great. I think if you do that, have a delivery service, because delivery services, people still need to eat during a pandemic. And most people want to eat foods that are not lowering the immune system, but are boosting it.
Right. Let's see, special needs, children and families.
Oh, so needed, because when there is a stay-home order, parents are the ones with special needs, not special needs, that get hit the most. So, daycares are closed. That means kids are at home, and this becomes a huge thing where I would encourage you to start to think about what services can come together online, or how can you get in-home service for lower risk clients, and you'd have to figure out what the state will let you do and not let you do. But people are in dire need of help right now.
Sarah says she's a licensed massage therapist, so she can't do telemedicine. And I know you work with a lot of people.
So it's really interesting. You can't do telemedicine, but you can be an educator on self-massage. That's called online education. And that is not illegal for you to give people tips on how you do self-massage. So we're going to stop there, Becky.
Okay. Oh, I don't even know what time. Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I want to just give a couple more. So FedEx is a perfect example. During the oil embargo, FedEx almost went bankrupt because gas prices got too high and they didn't have enough business. And what they realized is they had to rebrand their message. So FedEx, when you absolutely positively has to be there overnight, that became their new tag. They started to share it. And it's so funny that I used this slide because I made the presentation earlier. And then an hour ago, there was a FedEx truck in front of my house. So online wellness, that's my example, which is I have a teleclass tomorrow for acupuncturists, because I work with a lot of acupuncturists because I've been an acupuncturist. And there's over 20 people signed up for a paid call because I've compiled the information as quickly as possible. Now, I also want you to create a solution. So how can you help your clients now? It's interesting because someone's learned how to draw on my slides. I don't know how that happened.
I don't know.
I see that.
Yeah.
That person, you're fine, because if you have that kind of tech knowledge, you're going to be so needed during this crisis.
Oh, that's funny.
So while you're doing this for yourself, just list it in the chat. What's
Okay.
one way you can help your clients now?
Okay, wait a minute. Help them get, Dottie says, help them get set up with technology for online.
Yeah, absolutely. Like people, everyone's getting onto Zoom and most people don't know how to use it. You know, there's so many online tools that people could be using now, Dottie, and they just don't have the training. So you could offer group training, you could offer low-cost training. Let's hear one or two more, Becky.
Okay, Audrey says, pitch more socially conscious design concepts.
I don't know what that means, but it's pitch more socially.
Conscious design concepts. I'm not sure.
Yeah. And so there may be another way you could say that, but it sounds like your clients might know what that means.
Right, right.
And we'll take one more.
Okay. Sarah says, give them updates, explain how they can still get the benefits of your services without the face. She's the licensed massage therapist, without the face-to-face portion.
So much, so much. Now, the other thing, massage therapists are perfectly trained for those that like to listen, because sometimes you get a client to get on the table and while you are giving them a massage, they open up to you and they tell you their whole life story. Now, those people often aren't telling anyone else their life story. You're their go-to, so you happen to be part therapist, part body worker, although you can't say that you're a therapist. And that's what a life coach does.
Oh, right, right.
So it is time to be nimble and to adapt and to change. I'm going to take one more. If you guys want more, you can find me at jasonstein.com. I do have an offer that's guaranteed. I should have put that on the slide, but I just created a pivotal marketing plan for any business owner that's self-employed that needs to shift their marketing now. And we can take an hour of time together for you to create solutions and get very clear, not just in idea format, but the specific nuts and bolts that you can do to take the next steps. It's guaranteed. It's $197. I discounted it to $127 for I Take the Lead members.
Wow.
Becky, I'll give you that link so when the recording goes out to everyone, people have that link there.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh. So did you pull it off?
Oh, sorry. People were still writing it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay. If you email it to me, I'll send it out to everybody because we had a lot of people that obviously couldn't be on the webinar.
Yeah. For those that, sorry, for those that want that link, go to Jason Stein. It's STEIN.com. Go to my services page and you'll see it there. It's called Pivotal Marketing Plan.
Oh, I like that. The name of that too.
That's me being nimble. That was created last week.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Did you want to open it up for any questions?
Yeah, we have a couple. I have other presentations coming up. And so we have about 5 more minutes and I can take a couple of questions.
Okay. Are there any questions? We'll do it by chat. And it takes.
I have a question.
Yeah, tell us who you are, where you live, and what your question is.
My name is Vicki Huan, and I live in Portland, Oregon, in the Hollywood district. And I'm calling to ask about services that people would do to get momentum once this whole COVID thing is over, where it's pretty much collaborating, trading. I am a mediator. I do business consultation. I am also a blockchain architect. Okay. And I am a think tank member. So I would say that I help with innovations and things like that. But at the same time, I specialize in sustainability. Anything about sustainability of the environment or the climate, farming health wise for the public is what I'm really into. So, but the whole thing is I need help in the structure of creating things for the public. And that's part of your speech about kind of giving back, right? So this is part of me giving back and a lot of it, and I can't just do it alone. And I feel like as a community, everybody do their little bit of the share, we can make this a better place. So,
Yeah. So let me answer your question. I believe Jason Green, I think that's his name, is in charge of PSU, Department of, I don't want to say entrepreneurship, I think he's in sustainability. But if you look up incubators, Portland State University, and you get in contact with him, you're talking about meeting with all the different communities that are in that conversation, and he would be the go-to for that.
thank you so much. And I'm looking for more like website designing and things like that, just to, because I just wanted, maybe I can do a Facebook information about my whole upcoming nonprofit. And it's supposed to be addressing the 3 sustainability is climate, social sustainable, and economical.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a lot of good ideas, and you might want to meet with I Take the Lead to see what different group you could visit. And from there, you're going to network with more people and you'll get more information.
Yeah, do you know if you can send me that link?
Becky will be able to do that for you.
Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We can take 1 or 2 more questions.
Okay. Any other questions?
Annette's raising her hand.
Oh, okay. Where
Well,
is she?
Since there's a lot of us business leaders here, I'm curious what we're kind of predicting this will look like. I know you mentioned earlier, Jason, that you're anticipating this will go on for the next few months, but from a planning perspective, a strategic perspective, all of us are well-educated folks.
Yeah.
What are you all kind of anticipating will look like in the next month, 2, 3, 4? I mean, how do you create a plan when it's hard to predict where things are going to land?
Great. It's a great question. And I think that's where lean business.
Sleep in the airplane easily with just 2-seater.
If you could
3
turn
seater.
whoever's on.
Yeah.
There we go. So this is the time to really understand lean business and how to shift quickly. And no one knows how long or how much economic crisis is going to be going. And so I think the main thing is to do some strategic planning that allows for flexibility. And so I would do, and this is just my opinion, opinions are going to differ, a 3-month contingency plan strategically for the next 3 months. I don't know, someone told me online, and I haven't tracked back the source, but that Portland's going to be shut down till June 15th. And we'll see if that happens or doesn't happen. But I always prepare for the worst, and then I'm flexible and nimble when something better happens.
Exactly. Perfect. Perfect answer.
Great. We have time for 1 more. And that, before we move on, I want to make sure that answered your direct question.
I like the contingency plan idea. I realize that we don't have time to kind of flesh out, the specifics, but I do think it answered the question at first. So
Great. And again, the pivotal time, that's guaranteed. So if you want to spend some time with me and you feel like that wasn't what you needed, I've modified this from something I've done guaranteed for the last several years. I've had hundreds of people go through it. No one's ever wanted their money. And I don't actually take the money for that service until you get the service I provide.
And I know Lynn and I both have taken advantage of working with Jason in that regard. And he's awesome. He thinks outside of the box and really gives you some ideas.
Well, now's a good time to be rolling with that again, because there's a lot of people shifting businesses and shifting focus, and having an experienced voice help walk them through a marketing plan can really help. Because a lot of people have lots of ideas. I think the key is being flexible, but thinking, okay, from here, where do I want to go for the next 2 weeks, 1 month, 3 months? but be ready to make a change at any time. Jason can help with that.
My favorite quote is, indecision is the destruction of creation.
Oh, boy, isn't that the truth?
And so if you're riding the fence and you're like a wait and see plan, that is not what I recommend for you guys to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Iris, I just see you online. It's so good to see you here. I have many subscribers that I don't really see, and then I see them pop in. So, all right, we have time for one more question, and then we're going to close out for today.
Are there any other questions real quick?
And if there isn't, we can close out now.
I'm not seeing any.
Okay.
Okay. Well, Jason, thank you so much. We really appreciate all that you've offered today and your tips and suggestions. Oh, and Audrey says she learned so much. Thank you.
I'm so glad that you guys came here. I believe this is going to be free access to others. Just trying to get the information out there that it really is important to stay centered and grounded. It's really important to shift your perspective. It's really important to get creative during these hard times because they are super impactful. And so know that we're going to get through this together. And Becky, I just appreciate you and the I Take the Lead team for having me today.
Well, thank you. Thanks, Jason. And thanks everybody for being here. And I will be getting out the recording later or tomorrow, probably tomorrow. So thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.